Hey, everybody. I'd like to welcome Shruti Sharma to the podcast. She is a fellow counselor and also practices tarot and Reiki. So, Shruti, what we do here on the podcast is pretty straightforward, which is to discuss how the outer circumstances of our lives are stimulated inward in two very distinct ways. And that is one through the separate psychological ego that we use in therapy. And the second is the divine soul connection to all that is. And why is it important to know the difference? Well, that's where you come in as our guest to help us relate to this inner conflict within ourselves and give us ideas on how to integrate these two perspectives into one full, beautiful, messy experience. And so, Shruti, please jump on in and finish introducing yourself.
Okay, thank you, Wine, for doing this with me. And as you introduced me, I am a Reiki master. I have been practicing Reiki for 20 years now. And I'm also a tarot card reader for 17, 18 years. And have been practicing counseling along with my clients to help them in a better way and to analyze their thoughts and help them make crucial life decisions through their life. So what usually comes across in our own personal lives and also in our clients life as ego is wanting or expecting certain things to happen a certain way when you find yourself stuck in a
Yep.
situation. So even when you're praying to God, you're telling him, this is what I want, this is what I want,
Yeah.
as if he's there to deliver
Making our fist.
exactly. Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
always say we try to bend the will of the universe to our personal preferences. And I always picture like this little tiny mouse just screaming at a tidal wave or something, just like, you got to do what I want you to do. And it's just pointless, but we do it.
yes, yes. And it's tough to manage, I must say, what is served to you in life many times. And the ego is bound to come in and tell you that, no, I don't deserve this, or this should not be happening to me. It happens to other
Yeah.
people. But the
Yes.
fact is that no, it's happened to you, it's in your life, you have to face it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep your ego of wanting things a certain way. uh, Attachment also can be to people. So you don't want to leave a bad relationship, because you're attached so much to the suffering. You want an outcome that it has to be a happy ending for me, because that's how it is.
Yeah.
And it is not. Most of the times it is not, because you
Yeah.
have to learn and grow and then find that perfect match for you. So it's a trial and error most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. We're
So
all either going to break up or die. So get
yeah,
used to endings, right?
yeah, yeah.
Nothing's going to last forever, but our ego will tell us that it's supposed to.
Yes, that's how it's
So
supposed to. And it's not my fault. It's not my
yeah,
fault.
right, right.
So
So
yeah.
so I always like to ask my guests, like, when did they first discover the word ego or find out that they had one?
So for me, I actually also was a part of this group who wanted things to be a certain way. Yeah. And when I did not get those outcomes, this was in my job when I was working. I was very young. I was around 20, in my mid 20s.
Okay.
And I was the best. I was proud of myself for being the best. And I always thought that I am not going to be in the backseat ever. I'm always going to be the front runner and everything.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
once I did not get that uh, acknowledgement, that applause,
Mhm.
by a way of a raise or whatever, what is the best raise that anybody has got, and those kind of things in corporate scenarios. And that didn't happen. So I was really, really depressed. I was like, this cannot
Mm,
happen to me.
yeah.
So that's when I realized that, this being the best is so much in my head
Mm,
that, I cannot take not being recognized, not being uh, the way I want. It's not that I wasn't recognized. I was, but exactly the way I wanted.
mm-hmm. Yeah. How did you develop this sense of that you had to be the best and the front runner and all of that? Like, was that something that you learned in childhood?
Yes. So I was
Yeah.
always a good student. I was
Mhm.
always a good student, and I always ranked in among the first top three until I started to work. And yeah, at work also, I was among the best in the direction that I choose, the department that I choose.
Mhm.
So I felt entitled in a way that, I have to be top of class. I'm born to be that because I've never been
Mhm.
anything else.
Yeah.
So to suffer setbacks or something that was below my own standards, whatever standard I have set, was not acceptable to me.
Mm.
So that's when I realized that yes, something needs to be done, and it wasn't very pretty for me. My reaction, my own reaction, because I was always used to being this very, poised and graceful person, because I
Mm.
was a winner. I wanted to be a winner, and I was. But
Yeah.
when I stepped down from that pedestal for a moment, it was not nice. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was not liking it. I was not liking my own reaction to it. I was whining. I was grumpy.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I don't like
Yeah.
myself this way.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's what the ego does, right? It says this is the only way that we're going to be successful is by being number one, or, and then
Yeah,
eventually, and it works. It does work for a while. Like you said, it worked for a while until it didn't. And when
yeah,
life shows you that that isn't going to work anymore, the ego will try harder, or will, like you said, be grumpy, or will want to force things, or will, whine. Like you said, it's just like, wait a second, why is what I was taught that was going to make me successful not working? And
yes,
that's what, so I mean, everyone has that experience. I don't know anyone, any client I've ever had, or myself, that hasn't had that experience where they said what I used to do worked for me and now it doesn't. And that's when the
correct.
ego gives you the gift of at least maybe offering a window into the soul, right? Like okay, so there must be something more, or there must be another way. And some of
Yes.
us go to extraordinary ideas such as Reiki or the tarot or numerology, which is what I used.
Hmm.
And just wondering, did you, while you were young and you were a winner, as you called it, like, were you also aware that you had a soul, or was that not something you were aware of?
Well, I was not aware of it in that sense, but now when I look back at it, I feel like the fact that it worked up until then means I was aligned to something
Mm,
which was higher than me.
okay.
And then this misalignment caused that realization that there needs to be something else, something more to it.
Yeah.
In order to grow, I need to take another path.
Okay. And what was that path for you?
So that path was again self discovery, going inwards. Somebody advised me that, why don't you internalize? Why don't you do some soul searching
Mm, mhm, mhm.
about what you need to do next? What is it
Yeah.
that you want to do? So uh, so I started to help out people. I was assisting other counselors at that time, as I was speaking to you earlier. So I was speaking to other people who had worst life situations. I mean, mine was nothing
Yeah.
in front of them. So I realized how blessed I was. I realized my own privileges.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had a lot of gratitude for the
Mm.
life that I had so far, and the opportunity that I got as soon as I thought about working on my ego.
I love that you use the word gratitude. I feel like that's a theme that I keep hearing with people that I talk to. It's like gratitude really is the first step into listening to your soul. Like
Yeah,
you kind of go, I'm grateful for everything that I have because I really didn't do this. It wasn't
yeah,
me, the ego, that created all this for myself that I am having. And for you, it was a human to human experience of like being around counselors before you
yeah,
became a counselor. But before
yeah.
that, you said you had started Reiki and tarot before, right?
Yes, yes. Before, so Reiki, I started before all this. Before my ego got a bang. Yeah. So
Okay.
probably, what I feel is that maybe Reiki led me to that path.
Yes.
Which I was maybe probably now in hindsight maybe scared to face.
Mm.
I wanted to be in that safe space of being on top of the game. Who knows who is on the top of the game anyway?
Yeah, and I think that, that's what I mean by two very different perspectives, right? That can be integrated. So you had sort of this spiritual side of you, but you also had the ego side, and you realized through this ego break, that they weren't integrated.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yes.
think that's cool. That's how I saw it too. Like I was searching for things like numerology and I was very dedicated to the spiritual path, but I also had this separate ego that pretended like it was a totally different thing. They weren't
Hmm.
integrated at all. And that was a very humbling experience to have happen not too long ago for me.
Hmm.
Um, and so you start working with counselors and
Yes.
you have a
And
level of gratitude, which I think, again, like I said, is it's kind of the bridge that starts the integration process.
yes.
Yeah. So then what happened?
So then along with the counseling, assisting the counselors, I also was drawn to tarot card reading,
Mm,
which I learned, and I started working on it also professionally. And the
mm.
more that I worked on these things, I realized that I am crying over nothing, really. That's what I felt. Like,
Yeah.
look at the problems that the people face. I
Mm,
mean,
mhm.
it can be devastating.
Yeah. Hmm.
When somebody loses a loved one, and he is the only uh, sole earner of the family, it is devastating for the whole family, for the wife, and it's also sudden. So
Yeah.
what do you go and tell them, you know
Mm,
that
hmm.
don't have an ego? You can't tell them anything.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
healing will help them at that point. I mean, you can be there for them, that's all you can do.
Yes.
Yeah, and also children, young children who are not able to have basic necessities met, like going to school,
Yeah.
or food.
Yeah. Yeah. Foods. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like I got this all my life, you know
Yeah.
and I didn't know it is a privilege.
There's a saying that like Jesus, if he was walking by someone that was starving, he wouldn't hand him a Bible. He would like give him food. I mean, that's what
Uh-huh.
it means to be integrated is you recognize like what this person in front of you might need at the moment. And you're able
Uh-huh.
to do that as a human. Right. But then
Yeah,
also when someone is ready and has, not the crisis in front of them, they are able to maybe integrate the more spiritual side of things or to receive healing from Reiki,
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so how did all of this inform you as a counselor, when you came into counseling?
yeah. So when I came into counseling, first of all, I made a process. Like if I see how the client is with their situation, how much they are willing to share with me, and how much in control of their own life they are the moment they've come to me.
Mm.
If they are not emotionally stable, then I listen to them, I hear them speak. I probably do a few sessions of Reiki with them.
Oh, okay. So you'll do Reiki
And
right away, huh?
yeah, I do it right away. So it calms them down. It helps them be more in control and speak uh, coherently, at least, whatever they want to.
Wow, that's great.
Uh, yeah, that I do. And then one or two sessions is about listening to them, uh, and making notes, so that I can help them later, that
Mm-hmm.
this is what you told me. Is this really really something that you care about? And later on I might know that no, it's just something that came out in the spur of the moment. They were so devastated that they said
Mm-hmm.
something that they not even consider doing or thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's how. And then we go on and analyze and unpack the situation, uh, talk about how, uh, let's say a relationship, for example, can work for them or cannot work for them. What is their role in it? I ask them to journal many times,
Mm.
because mostly their self talk is very negative.
Yeah.
So they need to realize that they are their own worst enemy, actually.
Yeah. Do you help them discern the difference between their ego and their soul, or do you call it something else, or how do
Uh,
you work?
no, I don't really tell them that this is your ego and this is your soul. No, I don't really differentiate it like that,
Okay.
because the clients, when they come to me, they are looking for solutions,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they think that this might end my misery, talking to her or going to her.
Yes.
Okay, so what I do is get them in control of their situation to the extent that they can decide the next best step for them.
Okay. And when you say control, that makes me think of the ego. Do
Hmm.
you mean control? In what way do you mean that word?
So control meaning you are the decision maker of your life, not like controlling the situation or controlling the people involved,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but finding the best way forward for you at this moment. Though mostly people, and I will include myself, do want to control the situation and do want to control the outcome.
Right.
Like, this is what I want from this.
Right. 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 Which is the ego. I would call that the ego. And I think
Yes.
instead of controlling the situation or thinking that you have control, I try to help people use the word cooperate. Like, how are you cooperating with what happened?
Hmm.
How and what do you think hopefully if the person's open to it, like, what do you think your soul is trying to learn from this
Hmm.
experience? But it sounds like you just use more of a plain, like a down to earth discussion, but that you use Reiki, which to me is very spiritual, right? And
Yes.
so it sounds like a lot of your spiritual work or soul work is with your hands rather than with your and then you're using more of like a clinical viewpoint when you're talking to them.
Yes. Yes.
Oh
A
my
more
God.
practical one. Yeah, more practical one,
Yeah. And
which
you
is
said
more understandable and relatable. Yeah.
yeah, but it's so great to hear that someone would receive Reiki, you know, and that's, I just love that. So, you said when you use more understandable terms. I know we were talking before that you use REBT, rational emotive behavior therapy, and just curious, as a fellow therapist, what, you could explain as to how that is so beneficial to your clients in down to earth terms.
Okay, so in REBT, what you do is you analyze your own thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and what makes you think the way you are thinking. Is it helpful to you? Are your thoughts helpful to you? And are they helping you move forward in your situation, or
Yeah.
are they hindering you,
Yeah.
or are they for the highest good of everybody concerned?
Yeah. And I would say that the emotional part of that is, something's helping or hindering you based, I think, a lot of times on your emotions. And some
Yes.
people would say, or if you don't use an emotion, do you feel expanded or contracted? Do you use any
Mm.
terms like that with people to help them understand emotionally or intuitively what's helpful or hindering them?
Well, I ask them, how does that make you feel? Because thoughts are related to feelings and feelings are related to behavior. It's a TFB triangle, as we call it.
Yes. Yeah.
So I ask them, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
And they have to name their emotion. And once they name it, and usually they are able to name it, because people get pretty self aware. They are, pretty self aware themselves. They know what is possible for them, what is not possible for them. So
Yeah.
they are able to name their emotion. But if they are not, I do try to tell them that, this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to make, sometimes, they try to get importance by being in a relationship. It makes me feel important if I'm in a relationship. If I'm
Mm.
not in a relationship, then I'm not important because nobody cares for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is your motivation of being in a relationship? Why would you
Yeah.
you know
And
yeah.
so in that example, it's a great example. If their motivation is to feel important, how do you
Hmm.
talk them through that may not be the best viewpoint of why they should be in a relationship?
Yeah. So then I talk to them about self love and self acceptance,
Nice.
because most of the times you expect the other to accept you as you are, and love you the way you are, but you
Mhm.
yourself don't.
Yeah.
So unless you help yourself, nobody is going to help you, and you have to believe in yourself the most, to be able to uh, you know get the benefit of the blessings
Yeah.
that you deserve.
How do you how did you integrate that into yourself? Because like you said, you had this breakdown of being whiny and grumpy, right? And starting to be grateful, but just being grateful for what you have is not necessarily self-love. And I'm
Hmm.
assuming that at some point you started to embody your own self-love. Um,
Yes.
yeah, how did you do that?
So, as I had spoken to you before, also, it is a journey. Self love is a journey.
Yeah.
And dealing with the ego is a journey.
Yeah.
The moment you think that you are done with this part, this is what I noticed, and this is what I've
Mhm.
taken care of. I have practiced it, and now I choose myself more and more.
Yep.
There'll be another situation which throws you off, and you will know, oh, I didn't know this part of me. I didn't know I'm still controlling. I
Yes.
was a person who would think that this is a one time thing, like a project. You're
Yes.
working on your ego, you're working on your ego, and you're done, right? You just do it
Mhm.
3 months, and then
Mhm.
you're in control of your ego, and you're more soul aligned, or whatever else we may like to call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, it's a journey. It's
Yes.
You're always going through it. There's always something new thrown at you. So you
Yep.
keep working on yourself and keep loving yourself, your current version of yourself. That's how
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
should
So
be.
you're saying that you have to do that work yourself. And it's a
Yes.
lifestyle. It's a lifestyle of gratitude, and then it's a lifestyle of constantly playing chess with the ego, right? Where the ego gets smarter, and so you have to get better at it, and you have to keep playing. And that is the truth, right? I mean, again, the ego wants to be over. It wants it to be done. It's like, no, I want to win, but you can't
Yes.
let it win. And
Yes.
so it is a lifestyle. And I think that the integrating of that, excuse me, is ongoing, but like there is a point I feel that you probably felt too where it clicked over and you can catch it. You're like, I feel so integrated now that every time this new chess move comes that I can meet it and I
Yes.
can do
Yes.
something with that. That's
Yes.
awesome. So so before we close up, like how can people work with you? What kind of people come to work with you? Where can they find you? All of that.
So I have a website, www.theweekendhealer.com. You can find me there.
The Weekend
And
Healer. How did you come up with that name? That's fun. The Weekend
so
Healer.
Reiki was my first spiritual tool that I was drawn to, and
Hmm.
that is taught over a weekend.
Okay.
So, so I am the weekend healer.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So that's how that came about. So the people that I work with are mostly women.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, women, young and older women as well. Say around 18 to 25 years of age. Um, Girls who are dealing with similar situations where they have problems in academics or work or relationships, and also with older women, say around 40, 45, yeah, who might be having a situation where they would feel that they sacrifice too much for others,
Mm,
so
mm,
now what
mhm.
is left for them?
Yeah, and I think that's another, you talked about attachment and control as part of the ego, but I also think the ego will also be that sort of people pleaser, mentality
Yes.
that or
Yeah.
sacrificial
Yes.
giver. And so, yeah, so that's great. So you also work with people that have that sort of conundrum of feeling that they just did everything for everyone else and now they're just depleted and what's left for me and who cares about me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know you're in Singapore. Do you
Yes.
work with people outside of Singapore?
Yes, I do. Over
Awesome.
Zoom call. Yes, I do.
Awesome. All right. So anybody on the wants to find the Weekend Healer in the world
Yes.
can find you. All
Yes.
right.
Yes, of course.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your perspective and being a fellow counselor in the world.
Thank you.
And yeah, I like your integrated viewpoint, and I think that it's clear that you have done all of that, and we're so humbly able to talk about your own ego in a way that makes me understand that you do understand the difference.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks and have a great rest of your day. I know your day's just starting and my day's ending. So have a great rest of your day.
Yes. So have a great evening.